Is everyone ready to rock?
And roll.
Awesome. Raise your hand if you have any pets at home. All right. Keep your hand up if you have dogs or cats. What about a bird? Fish? Does anyone have lizards at home? James, what does your cat look like?
He's like yay big. He's tan.
What kind of skin does he have?
Fur.
He has fur. How many legs does your cat have?
4.
Does he live in the water?
No.
All right. Today we're going to learn about what makes each of our pets and other animals in the wild unique. We're also going to classify them with different characteristics. Can anyone tell me what the word classify means?
Organize. Like separate.
Okay, that's a good definition. What about characteristic?
Special features.
Features. So if we're going to classify something based on characteristics, we're going to organize them based on their features. Does that sound like a good definition? All right. Sweet. Today we're going to do two things. We're going to make a collage out of animals in a certain classification, and we're also going to play a game where you're going to be the scientist and classify different animals into their groups. What are animals? Animals are organisms that can be made of many parts. They're not capable of making their own food. Animals must get energy from eating plants or other animals. The first animal we're going to learn about today are the group fish. Fish breathe with gills. They don't have lungs like we do. Most of them have scales and fins. Most lay eggs, have a body temperature that changes with its environment. So, can someone give me an example of a fish? What's the most recent fish you've seen?
A catfish.
Catfish. And what's distinguishing about catfish? Do they have whiskers?
Yeah.
The next category we're going to learn about are amphibians. They spend the first part of their life with gills underwater, and as adults they begin to breathe with lungs and live on land. They have smooth, moist skin, and most of them lay eggs. They have a body temperature that changes around with what's around them. So if they're out in the sun, their body temperature warms. If they're in the cold water, their body temperature cools. James, can you give me an example of an amphibian? Something that lives in water for the first part of its life and land on the second part.
A frog.
And what's a frog before it's a frog?
A tadpole.
A tadpole. Reptiles. Reptiles all breathe with lungs. They have scales or plates. Most of them lay eggs and have a body temperature that changes with the environment. Reptiles seem to be really similar to amphibians, don't they?
A little bit, yeah.
So give me an example of a reptile. An example of a reptile, other than a turtle or a lizard, like pictured on the screen.
Snake.
A snake is a reptile. That's a good example. Birds. Birds breathe with lungs. They lay eggs. And they have feathers, not fur or skin, really. They have constant body temperature. What types of birds do we see the most often? James?
Blue jays.
Blue jays. Do you see a lot of blue jays at home? All right. Next, we're going to talk about mammals. We're mammals. We breathe with our lungs, and we have hair, and we nurse our young with milk. And rather than laying eggs, mammals give birth to live offspring. All the other animals that we talked about prior to this laid eggs. And mammals also have a constant body temperature. So James, you told me about your cat earlier. Your cat belongs to the mammal group. Now you're going to use the colored Post-it notes located on your desks to determine which group you're in. If your Post-it note is red, then you're going to be in the red group, and so on and so forth. You are going to make a collage in your group of the animals that you are assigned. There is no right or wrong way to do this, but you should provide pictures of only animals within your group. You have a lot of supplies, so you can be as creative as you like. For example, you can put your collage of animals in a habitat, draw eggs, baby animals in the background, or even their environment. You should use at least 7 pictures from the magazines that I've provided you with, and work with your group members. Use your guided notes and the art supplies on your table to come up with a collage as a group. James, your group is the blue group, and you're going to be making a collage of fish. You're going to use the magazines in front of you and cut out pictures of fish and put them in an environment and be creative with the art supplies you have here. Wow, James, your collage is coming together great. How would you prove that a shark is a fish?
I can see gills right here.
They have gills. How else?
They're in water.
Great. The fact that sharks have gills and live in the water are 2 examples of why they belong in the fish category. Is everyone ready to rock?
And roll.
Please clean up your work areas by throwing away all the trash on your table. Clean up the art supplies and place your pictures on the drying rack. Once you've finished cleaning up, you may return to your seats and wait for my instructions. For the students' independent practice, they'll be playing an animal classification game where they'll have to drop different characteristics of the animals into the major group that they're associated with. The students will receive a demonstration of the game, and at the end of the game, the teacher will tell the students, or the students will tell the teacher how many mistakes they've made, and their goal is to make less than 10 mistakes in order to achieve mastery level. The instructions for the game are to drag each characteristic into the bin that fits the best. You'll know when you fill the bin because something special had happened. Visit the animal classifications to get ready or if you need help. You may also use your guided notes to help you with this game. To demonstrate, there are a bunch of characteristics at the top of the screen. You have to drop them into the bin that best suits them. For example, feathers and wings belongs in the bird classification. If you get it wrong, it'll put the image back to the top of the page. It is your goal to make fewer than 10 mistakes when playing this game. And once you have, you're to call me over and I will check you off for completing the assignment. Yes, James.
I saw it on the
How many mistakes did you make?
8.
Yay! You completed the assignment.
Can I play again?
You can always play again.
Yeah.
We did a lot of work in class today, James. We learned about grouping animals by their characteristics. Then we made some art where we grouped fish into the proper groups. And then we played a game where we used all the information we learned and classified each animal based on characteristics. Now tell me one thing you learned today that interests you.
Dolphins are not fish.
Okay, and then what's one other thing you learned about mammals?
Mammals, they give life first.